Hello and welcome to this episode of a podcast of hope, hashtag making way to inclusive community, a collaborative initiative by little storytellers and bachpankepitaresebkps. Deepa, any idea whom are we having today?
No, I was about to ask you.
Today we have with us Saradha Easwaran, founder director of Sarvae Jana Suki, who is a rehabilitation consultant.
A rehabilitation consultant.
Let's know from her, but before that, let me add on more about her. Sharda Ishwaran is a registered professional counselor at the Rehabilitation Council of India who
Mm-hmm.
advocates inclusive education and early intervention for children with special needs. And they
Okay.
follow Universal Design Principles for Learning, that is UDL.
Okay.
Hmm. So, what are we waiting for?
Yeah, there's too much to learn. There are so many new terms that we came to know today. Yes,
Yes.
let's listen from her and let's welcome her.
A warm welcome to this series, Sharda ma'am.
Hello, Deepa and Nina. It's so wonderful getting connected with you. And I should appreciate you for all your efforts that you have taken to make this inclusive education heard all around. And I'm immensely delighted and honored to have received this invitation to be the guest speaker of this series today.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us today. And it's a pleasure to meet you. So, ma'am, it's so good to know that we through your LinkedIn profile we came to know that you have done your education from Bhopal as well, the B.Ed, I think. So, I'm also from Indore. It feels good to know that you are connected to Madhya Pradesh in some or the other way. So, starting with your interview, ma'am, the first question that we would like to ask you is, what is inclusion according to you?
Inclusion, according to me, is accepting all for all reasons. Acceptance, when is unconditional, takes all efforts to understand the needs and limitations. Acceptance works towards handling these limitations and needs to bring one's latent potential inside out.
Wonderful to know your thoughts on inclusion. So, continuing, my next question is what inspired you to become a rehabilitation and special education consultant?
Was it an inspiration or a call? Down the line, around 25 years ago, I should say it was a call that made me to choose the stream of education, rehabilitation science, as my course of study. When I had options and family pressure to choose the then hotcake courses, my passion led me to accept after, after college volunteerships in different NGOs in my place. After graduating, I started to help parents of children with special needs where no special schools were found. I educated the parents to accept, to understand, and train their children with special needs. My understanding is when one could not find a special school set up in their locality, the parent should be in the position to accept the reality. So, this made me to share my knowledge and expertise with the parents. Very similarly, interacting with the teachers of the government schools, I found their commitment level to be very highly positive to help children with special needs in their class. Again, I started sharing my knowledge and expertise with the teachers. I think all these could have taken me to the position as a consultant, probably. Later, shaping myself as a consultant, I found my mission is to educate all parents and to see all schools as schools for all children.
It's indeed so great to know, ma'am, that you found your calling so early and you found your mission. and indeed such a noble mission to have schools for all children. In continuation, ma'am, I would like to ask you, I'm hearing this rehabilitation consultant for the first time. So, can you please tell us more about your profile as rehabilitation and special education consultant? What exactly is your role, or what exactly do you do?
Yeah, yes, Deepa. Rehabilitation and special education consultant may not be a familiar profile as rehab science course is not available everywhere. Basically, as a rehab counselor, I try to assess the individuals for their basic functional skills and abilities. Further, having the reports from the team of professionals, inferences are made to get a clear picture to understand the strengths, needs, and available resources. A rehab plan is designed and implemented with a team of professionals. This involves coordinating medical and therapeutic services, educating the client and their family about disability and its prognosis, and available services, advocating their rights, creating employability skills, developing employment opportunities, thus ensuring meaningful adulthood and independency.
Thank you for making us understand what all does a rehabilitation consultant does. So, ma'am, when parents come to you, what do you suggest parents to look for in a school to have their children with special needs admitted?
Yes, Nina, that's the need of the hour question. The school is the platform to exhibit the child's latent potential to the world. The school is the place where the child gets exposed to various different learnings. Thus, the school should be very highly resourceful and child friendly even. What if the case is the child is with some special need? I would very plainly say leave all your fancy ideas of rating a school by its resourcefulness, even the history of they being in the field of education, even the reputation or rank they score in your town, city, or even nation. Just look for the attitude. A school with basic acceptance and empathy would all I first would suggest. If everything is there but for the acceptance, the child, how would the child feel there then? The child would feel very much deprived, rejected, ignored, frustrated, and even depressed. Should we have to put to all these negative emotions to the child? No, not at all, not necessary at all. Where and how will the learning happen then? Learning happens where the child is loved and accepted. Learning happens where the child feels safe and secure. Learning happens where the child is equally regarded. With all these basic needs, as mentioned by Maslow, is all met, the child moves further in the ladder of learning. So, it is all for understanding that where there is will, there is a way. Just look for a school with basic acceptance and empathy where the child is given equality and equity in making himself or herself for the purpose of learning and enjoying the childhood. That's it.
Feeling loved and equality in learning, enjoying the childhood. Very well said, ma'am. Such thoughts will definitely bring changes in our education system. But when we go to school, often a shadow teacher is appointed. Deepa, would you like to take over this?
Yes, Neena, I'm really curious to understand more about shadow teachers because there are many teachers, many people who would like to be shadow teachers. But let me ask from ma'am about it. You have recently started training sessions for these shadow teachers also. So, we would like to know that what exactly are the prerequisites for someone who wants to be a shadow teacher. So, what are the roles that she should be prepared to do? Apart from the educational qualifications, what exactly is she expected to do so that it is clear for someone who wants to apply for this job or maybe who wants to do this kind of a job? If you could give us a glimpse of what exactly are the duties of a shadow teacher?
Yes, I think I can better answer as who is a shadow teacher? Who can be a shadow teacher? That was your question, no? Yeah. A shadow teacher ideally should be a special educator who has got her qualification and training to understand disability and its implications. So, this special educator who assumes the role of a shadow teacher has a great responsibility in making inclusive education a reality. You see, but in the real scenario, persons who have qualified themselves as a special educator obviously they had chosen a disability condition. Obviously they have chosen a disability condition, might be like intellectual deficiency or multiple disability or ASD or a learning disability or visual impairment or hearing impairment. But in reality, in inclusive education, a shadow teacher or an inclusive teacher should be ready to handle a child of any disabling condition. If it is the case of a special school, obviously a special educator who has got trained in one specific disability is placed in that specific special school. But in an inclusive environment, the teacher should be ready to handle any type of child, any type of disabling condition the child is with. So, to bridge this gap, that what these special educators actually face, such online courses are designed. So, that is one reason. The other reason is the growing incidence rate of children with special needs is not equivalent to the number of professionals, the special educators getting out every year. So obviously we are put in a compromising situation where any graduate head with basic communication ability and with the ultimate attitude to help the children in need are chosen to undergo such short-term courses and qualify themselves, and they are put in the position to help the needy. Of course, such qualified or such candidates who have undergone the small short-term courses do need supervisors, do need some coordinators to help to sail in a very smooth way. So, shadow teaching course is a small course that I have designed where it details on the roles and responsibilities of a shadow teacher. Like her responsibilities in making the curriculum more adaptive and accommodative for the child, and in making the school a better place to be with, where the teaching and non-teaching staff are given enough training as how to handle the child, and collaborating with the management and the administration to have some the physical and attitudinal changes in the school environment. So it details on all the essential basics to help one to understand the role of hers in the inclusive school. So that was the reason that I had to float this course, a small shadow teaching course, online shadow teaching course. And further, after this, if people are interested, they can take up some advanced courses that goes disability specific. That goes disability specific. Okay, that's. I think I have answered your.
Wonderfully explained, ma'am. That's true. What you said, I totally agree. And I'm sure the listeners will also agree that role of a shadow teacher is so important. She has to convey to the management, she has to convey to the parents, she has to talk to the child whom she is attending to. Indeed, it's a huge responsibility. And thank you so much for clearing out our doubts on who can be a shadow teacher, and also about the course that you have started, much needed indeed. And hope our listeners and caregivers now know whom to look for when it comes to their child's education and what kind of school they should look into.
Yes, Deepa, some of the points highlighted by Sharda ma'am will be of great help. So, before we end this episode, your parting message to the community.
My concluding words or departing words to the community listening can be like NEP envisions inclusive education at school and uh, higher education institutions. That is the need of the hour. All schools and colleges and universities should become inclusive in nature with the growing incidence of children with special needs. Children prepared for schooling through early intervention programs and supported by shadow teachers during their transitional stages, transitional phases, make their best make their best in their own forms in the mainstream schools. Such transitional supports are, are to be given by the shadow teachers. So the shadow teachers, they have the humongous responsibility, or they have the ultimate responsibility, where they play an important role being the facilitator inside the classroom, particularly during the transitional phases. uh, the child who is entering into a college soon after completing his higher secondary or the pre-university exams. Any child, uh, they face little trouble here and there, and definitely that would be also faced by students with special needs. And the shadow teacher who is supporting along for the physical inclusion, social inclusion, and attitudinal inclusion, and the academic inclusion, and makes the sale of the student very smooth. So, shadow teachers are very important this day, and wish more empathetic and more positive attitude shadow teachers are built or raised to meet the demands of the day. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
This was indeed an informative and inspiring message to the community by Sharda ma'am. We are grateful to you for joining us and sharing your valuable insights. One can read the description details to connect with Sharda Easwaran ma'am. That's all for this episode. We will be back soon with another guest and new insights. Until next episode, stay healthy, take care, and stay tuned with Bachpan Ke Pitare Se and Little Storytellers. Thank you. Have a good day.